Hi there, thank you for joining me on the Passionative podcast. This is your host Sagar Mehta, and today I want to share how you can create something perfect. This is it, folks. This is how you take your passion to major heights. This right here is the holy grail of all creativity, if I may say so myself. I'm going to share with you the one trick, the one shortcut, the one technique you can use right now to create something perfect. Are you ready? Here it is. Just create version 1. Yes, just create version 1. It doesn't matter whether you are a singer or a poet or a painter or a tattoo artist or a writer or a programmer. It simply doesn't matter what your passion is. The only thing, that one thing that matters is that you create version 1. And I'm not saying just start or just do it. I, of course, want you to start, but I want you to start with a simple goal: create version 1. This is the most basic, most bare bones, most raw, most bells and whistle free version of whatever you are creating. It could be a song, it could be a story, or a book, or an article. It could be a piece of software, it could be a sculpture, it could be a sketch or a painting. Start with the clear intention that you will create version 1. And there is a reason I use the term version 1 and not version zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.2. Version zero point 0.1 through 0. Whatever is a great journey and definitely one you are bound to take. But version 1 is what gives that journey meaning and worth. The journey is fun, but the reward at the end of the tunnel is version 1, which must be what you have in mind when you create something. And no, version 1 is not the perfect version of your art. It's not the perfect version at all, actually. It's the version of your creation that you think would feel complete to you. I'm a singer songwriter, so when I have the basic guitar chords, the drum track, and my lyrics done, that's my version 1. It doesn't have to be recorded. I know I could now record it anytime, perfect the guitar more, maybe make the drums more loud or soft, but it feels complete. If I'm writing an article, I get the gist of the idea in there and go back to edit later, add examples and so on if need be. That way, I have something to work with. Version 1 is when you have something to work with, something you can build upon. And this is important for a couple of reasons. First, version 1 makes sure that you ship something. It doesn't have to be ready for prime time, but having a goal makes sure you have something to work towards instead of just saying you want to create something that is perfect. Working on my songs before, I would try really hard to get it perfect so it sounded professional enough. This became a routine where I was almost constantly dissatisfied with what I was creating because it never quite sounded studio quality. Then I would try to add more instruments, remove some other instruments, add some more effects, but never quite get there. Knowing that I only wanted drums and guitar and a basic structure to the song for my version 1 made me focus on 3-4 specific things only and made it easier to push something out. Second, it gets rid of excuses super fast. When you have something you are working towards, it's easier to focus on getting there instead of caring about what's going on around you. So, even in a less than ideal situation, you will spend time creating something rather than nothing at all. Not having to create something perfect and instead having just a decent version 1 in mind meant that there was no pressure on me. As long as a song sounds like a basic song, I'm done. I've started applying this more to my writing as well because now I'm able to write something first without having to edit it to perfection as I write. A first draft looks more done than a blank page, and that helps build momentum. Finally, and the most important thing version 1 teaches you is what works for you. Even if something is a passion of yours, you'll spend a lot of time thinking about the perfect time, the perfect place, the perfect setting, the perfect mood, the perfect weather to work on it. This means you never get around to doing it. Having version 1 as the goal means that you're now creating instead of waiting. Inspiration hits or it doesn't, but you create nonetheless. I noticed that I used to get flustered if I wrote the piano or guitar parts first on a song. I just kept thinking this isn't good enough and left the song altogether, hoping for a perfect time or place to do it again. When I made version 1 important, I figured out that if I instead set down the drum loops first, it's easier for me to add other instruments to it and complete the song. If I can't work my way into the song from the guitar, but can do it with the drums, I'll take that any day. This is what I've started doing now for all of my songs, and so far it's going really well. Using this simple technique, I've finished more songs in 3 weeks than I've done in the last 3 years. So, what is your version 1? I want you to think about this. What is your version 1? What would help you get the feeling that you are getting somewhere, that it is close to complete? How can you create this feeling of delivering something or shipping something without having to worry about it being perfect or professional? That's your version 1. It could be the first draft of an article, or the first rough draft of the first chapter of your book, or the bare bones backing track for a song, or one small single module of your huge software project. All of those, whether as part of a bigger thing or on their own, are your version 1s. Get started on your version 1. It's an amazing feeling when you have something to show for your ideas. And I'm not saying something to show for your efforts on purpose. Efforts may or may not lead to anything. But when ideas become tangible, even if in very small ways, they become utterly powerful and generate tons of momentum that you can then take advantage of. Create your version 1, discover what works for you, and hey, do let me know what you feel and find out too. Thank you for joining me on the Passionative podcast, and I'll catch you on the next episode.